And a good morning. A nice frosty morning here on July 25th. 703. Oh, it's 70 degrees. I'm sorry. When I went out this morning about 5 o'clock, it actually was kind of nice.
It felt good this morning.
Yeah, early.
I came in.
Yeah, early it was.
Yeah.
But that'll quickly change, I promise, as the day goes on. It's a summer is here, and now we're going to be looking for the days where we don't hit 9 degrees, but we've had a pretty good string of them for a while. How long till playoffs in American Legion?
We start Friday or Saturday.
This week? So
yeah.
It's right before the week of the 4th.
Yes, we got games tonight and tomorrow, and let's see, I think Hickory finishes up tonight or tomorrow. Cherville finishes up tomorrow. I think everybody finishes today, with the exception of two teams.
Now, Cherville's hosting the state?
Yeah, state championship, yeah.
Now, there used to be some quirky things in there that if you – is it the host team gets an automatic bid to the regional? Is that what it is?
No, to the state championship. So if you're the host team, you get automatic to the host site. And what's happened for the last several years, and it happens more often than not, the host team is one of the qualifying teams anyway.
Yeah. So
it works out. But this year we get, I think Bobby Dale told me we get 3.
So what happens in that case?
As far as?
If the host team is – how many go to state?
We have 2 within each region.
Okay.
So there's 4 region areas in North Carolina. What's interesting is that it says total of 8, so you got a 1 and 2 from each area.
Mm-hmm.
This year we get 3 from Area 4 because it was either Area 1 or 2 gave up their right to host a state championship, and Cherville put in a bid and got it. So they only take 1 from that representative and give us 3.
Okay.
So if you pass up on your opportunity within your area.
Is that a rotating thing? Is that how that works?
Yeah. Now, Cherville's got it this year and next year, so it's normally a 2 to 3 year or 2 year rotating, 1 to 2 year rotating schedule.
Well, usually there's some pretty good money has to be spent for renovations to get it up to where they want it to host.
And there has been. The Legion Field at Cherville has they have put a tremendous amount of money, and they've invested into it. And the stadium looks good. Everything about it is right. There's covered cages now, which have been a blessing because it can get hot. Throwing BP in the sun to the kids, but that's been a blessing. So there's dual cages.
Is that what's over there on third base side?
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah,
it's really they did it right. Bullpens are in great shape.
How much does the I guess it's called screening, but the stuff they put up on the fence around the back, the outfield, does that cut down on wind any?
Yeah, it does.
I just wonder if it makes it hotter because wind can't get in there.
It doesn't. It's not quite high enough. I know where you're going with that. It's a great question, but it's more about the – believe it or not now, it's more about the advertising on that part.
Well, that's what – baseball was always about, that outfield wall.
Right. And the windscreens came up not necessarily because there was so much about wind, but it was able to make the field, when I say tighter, there's not as many distractions for the batter to see through, players to see through, where they can misjudge balls.
Well,
and that kind of thing.
I think the other side of that is, too, in my opinion, if you got that windscreen up there, you don't have to worry about somebody paying attention to a ball game out driving on the road and have an accident.
That's right.
Because it was easy, because it's right here on the road.
Yeah, it is. It makes things a lot tighter.
Yeah.
Even back, let's see, 88, so that's, wow. How many 40 years, 35 years ago, whatever it was, they still had metal signs.
Yeah.
I say metal, whatever, out in the outfield to block the road part. Because I played outfield, and we'd go there and play Cherville. It was hard to see down on that road. I mean, that park's always looked, each year, improvements, that kind of thing. The field surface is good.
I'm surprised, and I haven't been there for a game in years and years, but just looking at it driving by, they really haven't expanded the grandstand area behind the backstop. A lot of folks, you can see from the pictures, bring chairs and sit down the lines and that kind of thing.
Yeah, so they have down the first base side. So that there have been bleachers brought in. You can still bring a chair and sit, pop up tent, that kind of thing. They're doing a lot of road resurfacing behind that first base side, all the way down to the gym and around. And I'm not sure what the project going on there is, but that should be done here in the next, I think they said maybe 2 weeks.
How is the I can't remember the orientation of the field versus the sun. Does it have anybody late in the afternoon?
Yes. The first base is terrible.
I was thinking it was, and I would think catcher's going to have a little bit of it too.
So Colton, Mays, and Quinn play first, and there are times in that third or fourth inning that right before that sun goes all the way down, that sun is just directly directly in your eyes. So if we throw over to first base like a pickoff or a ball's coming from third, if it's thrown anywhere in that, you can't. It's so bad that you literally can't block it with your.
It's kind of like when you're in a car and you're facing west or east, and the sun's just come up or just about to go down. You can't get your visor down low enough and still see the road. So
I had that going.
It's hot everywhere, Andrew.
I learned that very quickly. I did my student teaching when I was at ECU. I did my student teaching out on the coast, like out in Little Washington, a place called Chocowinity. And every morning I would go, and that's where the sun was coming up. I learned about that visor and how to drive basically with the sun in the windshield, and you hardly can't see anything, especially when have a couple of frosty mornings.
Oh, yeah.
Getting towards Christmas, right towards the end of the semester or whatever, and learning how to do that. And back in the day, that Ford Escort's defroster, working on the windshield wasn't too good. So, it is tough playing baseball when you're receiving a throw. Not in hitting, so the field's got to be positioned right. Like Winthrop University, there's certain times during the day in the spring, later part of the spring, that they can't play a baseball game. So they were hosting a conference tournament when I was coaching at UNC Asheville 25 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever it was. They hosted a conference tournament, but you couldn't play between like 2 and 5 because the sun set right over center field. So it's right in the batter's eyes. Yeah. So but you got to put it where you got to put it.
There's some press boxes like that for football stuff too.
Westlake
gets really bad for that early season games because the sun is directly coming into the press box.
You go back to 8 o'clock football anyway. I don't like it 7:30 stuff.
Now, does is it called the Junior League?
Junior Legion.
Yeah. Do they have any type of postseason play?
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
but not outside the state.
No, not outside the state. What's cool is Richard Walker's got that, Carolina Sports Hub that he does, and he came to Legion Field. Tuesday, Sunday night after the doubleheader. He was there, and that's the first time I've seen him in a long time. We got to catch up on a bunch of stuff, but we were talking about how he, all the things that he does as far as nightly scores, both Legion A and Junior Legion, Legion B. And he keeps up with the standings, and he's got it figured out when it comes to
he's done it for so long.
Yeah, and he knows it.
Yeah,
he knows the good, the bad, and the ugly, and he's seen things materialize over the years. And to me, he's helped keep it alive because there was a stretch of about 8 to 10 years where you reduce it down to 7 innings, you go to a pitch count. Now, remind you, these are 18, 19-year-old men, young men. They still have pitch counts and all these things. And he's watched. I just don't, personally, I don't like it. I don't like I don't like rules. I like being able to, monitor your own health and safety instead of having someone do it for you. And I think that I became more convicted of that maybe.
Everybody's lawsuit scared.
3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah. Everybody's lawsuit scared. That's where most
if you know where I'm going with this. Yeah, it's all about a bunch of older people making themselves feel good because they say, well, we're trying to take care of the kid. No, we get old, nobility's at an all-time high. And all of a sudden we just become so more insightful about things, but yet we're taking opportunity away. Like the kid the other night that was pitching for Union County had to come out at 105 pitches. Kid's in shape. His fastball's still, 87, 88 miles an hour, kind of like, he's trained. He's done all these things. He got to 105. He had to come out.
Let me ask you this: and I know that it's changed and evolved over time, but and here again, because I'm not a baseballer and I never did really follow American Legion baseball, was American Legion baseball set up more for the high school player, or was it set up more for the senior and first-year college player?
It used to be for the high school player, where you had where you could come back if you were in college, as long as you didn't turn 19 before August 1st. Now they made the rule, which I like, that you can't turn 20 in that year.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're 19 the whole year this year, whenever you were born in 2024, you're eligible to play. I like that. What happened was they started letting teams pop up in every town.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just like when I was coaching at Hickory, I had to cut a couple kids from a local high school. Their dads got pissed, which, I mean, they just weren't better than the players I had. I had no choice. I loved the kids to death, but you can only keep 18. And I was 18 strong and had the whole county. So, I mean, you go figure out. You know, I got Hickory, Band. I got, 7 high schools.
Right.
Now you got like 12 here because of private schools too, right? So I had to cut a couple of kids, well, we're going to start on junior Legion team. Well, that's fine. Well, next thing you know, we want to have a Legion team. Well, so they come in and basically cut out, a third of what you're drawing just so they can have a team. Well, they can't field the players that you can on one team, right? So then all of a sudden, after a year or two goes by, those kids cycle through, and all of a sudden they're asking 8th and 9th graders to play. So instead of them playing junior Legion, they're playing Legion A. What do you think that does to the competition?
To fill out the roster.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That's crazy, right? Well, I mean, and
that's why I was asking. I didn't know what was the thought behind.
I need you to understand. That's why I'm explaining in detail why that's such dog crap. Because you cannot increase the quality of something by offering more of it. All right, until you make it exclusive, where you've got to work for it and then build it out slowly. So if you want to incorporate another team in, you don't do it in every little town that wants one. And now instead of having seniors and returning high school kids and a few juniors, all right, now you got 8th and 9th graders playing on that team.
Did it used to be that way?
No, because you didn't have as many teams. Like Burt.
Well, the reason I asked that is because I know that travel ball and all-star tournament, that has hurt some of the numbers, and that's why I was wondering, 30, 40 years ago, could they field more American Legion teams because there wasn't any other opportunities for them to play?
So to your point, the answer to that is yes, okay, because you could get the quality. You'd find one freshman maybe in every town that could play at that level, okay, maybe one. A sophomore or two that could play at that level with the big boys, all right? And then your juniors, seniors, and returning college kids. When the opportunity to play showcase ball came in, because the issue was people didn't feel like they were being recruited. Well, there was a lot of reasons for that. Number one was the ability to communicate and showcase and be able to show it. So that's why they had the state games in North Carolina, which I played in, and that's where I got seen. And then they started showing up to the American Legion games and watching me play. I'm just giving an example, okay, of how that worked. If I had not done that, then word of mouth gets out slower, right? Well, now we have technology and, the ability to communicate, and Twitter and Instagram and all these things, where I'm so blessed to receive this offer from such and such that nobody, just that kind of thing. So that has subsided some. So, if you got to have a balance between the two. Right, and so there's some kids that choose not to play in showcase ball that play junior Legion, okay? And then you have kids that are mostly signed or have an idea of where they're going or already in college that are playing Legion or coming back and playing. So,
how long has junior Legion been around?
Wow. I would say that's a question for Walker or BD, but I remember it back in 2008 when I took over Hickory's team.
Okay, but it's not something that the Legion started with. It was something that kind of evolved out of Legion.
They evolved on it, into it.
Kind of like a feeder type system. And an opportunity for kids to play it, didn't have any other place to play.
And they've revamped it where, you can They want you to have your roster turned in before your first playing date. The problem is high schools a lot of them hadn't finished yet in the playoffs. So what happens is kid says, I'm going to play. And they say, I'm not playing. Well, used to, you could only do that, Laney. And then you were just stuck with how many you had. Now you can bring them up from junior legion, but that
hold that thought because that's another question that I've got. Let me take a time out. We'll be back with more here on the Bottom Line.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com. At Stifel Nicholas, we're committed to offering investors personalized investment guidance. We're a full-service organization with departments staffed with professionals that specialize in a wide range of investment opportunities, from the most conservative to the most aggressive. We strive to give each account, regardless of size, careful, individual attention. Call Fort Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC and the New York Stock Exchange. Welcome back. Milton, good morning. Andrew was listening in here as well. Andrew was by here earlier. Now I got to remember the question I was going to ask you because it's been 3 minutes and things seem to disappear. It was along the lines of Legion
B.
Yeah.
Guys, we're talking about rosters and filling spots in high school playoffs.
So when Showcase tournament or Showcase, it's still tournament play, happened, and it kind of competed with Legion, the thing that I looked at was it looked like the tournament play may have given you as much exposure, but they condensed it into shorter periods of time,
right?
Different from what Legion. I've always said the Legion plays like 137 games in 32 days, you know? I mean, it's like it's on and on and on. Has it always been that way? Yeah. Has the Legion schedule always been that?
Yeah, it used to be longer. Like, we used to play through the middle of July, like our regular season. And it's in Area 4 where we are. And we had a rotation of like 4 teams. And there's like 3 or 4 divisions within Area 4, right? And then we played from there once we got in the playoffs. So we wouldn't play the Charlotte team, used to be called Paul Creek instead of 262, whatever. we didn't play them until the end of July. So there were a lot of times, Lanny, that especially in Burke County in the 87, 88, 89 years where we were in the Area 4 finals every year, we would go to football practice in the morning, all right, and then play Legion ball at night, okay? And that happened one time with the two-a-days. So we practiced in the morning and obviously playing Legion ball at night and, finished up that week. But we never made it to the state championship, but close. So they've revamped things and pulled everything back some where now state championships are that third week in July. Regionals are at the end of the first week in August. And then then the World Series is in that like 4 days later, 5 days later when regionals are done down in Shelby.
What's the format for state playoffs?
We play 3 out of 5.
Okay.
So we got
8 teams.
Yeah, we got 11 teams in our area. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 will get a bye the first round. 6 will play 11, 7, 10, 8, 9. And then second round, 4 will play 5. And then 1 will play the winner of like 8, 9. And 2 will play the winner of 7, 10. 3 will play 3, 6. Or 6, 11.
So a team that makes it to the state championship finals,
yep.
How many games have they played up to that point?
So if, for example, you're talking about each individual
regular
area,
season and then through the state playoffs?
Yes. It depends on how many teams you got in your league, but you could play, like, if we were to make it to state championship and play all the way through and potentially play 3 rounds of 15 games plus a 2 out of 3. No, we won't play 3 rounds, so we'll get a bye. So, but we could. Let's say a team could. So you go in with 20 games minimum, and then you got 15 and then 3. So realistically, you get close to 40. You'd probably be at 38. Now, we played non-conference games, so it is possible we could be in that 30, 35 range, even with us getting a bye the first round. And then I've seen Cherville in years past because Bobby used to play almost every day, conference, non-conference. I've seen Cherville with close to 40-some games.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
By the end of the state championship. Now, I will tell you, what I did was at Hickory, showcase ball was ramping up early, in the late 2000s, right? In 7, 8, 9, 10, all that. So, they had an area showcase team here. And what I did was, they were mainly for the kids that were like sophomores and juniors. Now, there were several of those.
That's because there was not a junior legion at that time.
That's right. Well, there was, but we didn't have one at Hickory. But it's because
it's
they
funding
needed
too.
To do that. Yeah, they needed to do that. And so what I did, I think Jason Harris was coaching the Heat. It's called the Heat at that time. And I just told him, I said, look, the first half of the first month, basically for the month of June until I've got to turn – my roster used to be turned in until the end of June, like after our regular season, right? So I said, I'm not going to play any games on Saturdays at all. We may play a Friday night here or there, but if the kids want to dual participate, they just got to fill out a form. I got no problem with that. They're playing baseball. I said, just, help me regulate the pitching side of things. If we got a kid that's going to throw. Let's just monitor that together and make sure we're, doing that for the benefit of the player and not, trying to win a weekend tournament. I mean, they're there to show what they got. That,
right.
It's a little different. And he was good about that. And, there were a couple of kids like Zach Jarrett didn't play Legion ball till he was a senior. And Zach played showcase ball. He definitely could have helped us, but I completely understood and had, contact communication with all the kids. That, look, this is what your plan is. I get it. Robert Whaley was the same way. He was a great player for us. Came back, had an extra year. He came back after college and played. Now, there were some really good ones that came through, like Tyler Poole, Jeremy Knoll. They didn't play showcase ball. They played in the fall, maybe pitched a little bit in the fall on some teams. But they came out and competed in Legion is a season that you compete in, right? And depending on who you play for, they can help with their contacts get you promoted. Like Coach Reynolds at Cherville was very good about helping players and placing them and finding a place for them to play. And he's good about looking at other players on other teams and saying, I think this kid might be a fit. So-and-so coach was telling me they needed this position or this kid might be able to do it. So he'll call him and just talk to him.
Right.
He's an ambassador of baseball. It's a good thing. It really is. And Quinn's had a tremendous experience down there. Baseball's a game of streaks and slumps, and the thing that Bobby Dale does so well with the kids is he's very truthful with them, and he can be abrasive, but that's okay because they know what they're getting, and it's always the truth, But he's also very encouraging to them. If they make a mistake on a play and they're hustling through and they're focused, they just, hey, look, improve this part, get it done the next time, and let's go.
Yeah.
So there's a lot there, and I've seen some good from when I left Legion, the coaching in our league with our top tier teams, and even some that aren't. I mean, Marshall McDonald's the coach at Hickory. He's CVCC coach. There's good coaching in our league, and there's a lot of player first mentality, which I had seen in the past was not the case. And now I'm not talking about every team, just how you kind of see it, but it's been a good experience.
Mid-90s is when I remember fall ball taking effect.
Yeah,
I was at Bunker Hill.
Yeah.
And I had a very simple saying that was fall ball, it ain't round. Because I didn't like having another sport compete during, and it's not just baseball. Then basketball started doing it.
Summer stuff with basketball.
I mean, they were year round, and it takes away from your kids participating.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I get it. Like, if you got a kid that's going to be a first or second round pick in baseball, that's a little different. People talk about they need to play, and I don't disagree.
But you got some kids that ain't playing anywhere,
and that's my point. My thing is play as hard as you can, as long as you can. And if you're serious about a sport you're playing in, train in it, try to get better at it. And if you're not going to be that, potential, higher draft pick guy, which most of them aren't, okay, then go ahead and play. Go ahead and play. Just have a good time. Pick a couple and go, or 3 and go.
Let me give you a couple headline updates from yesterday. The Edmundston Oilers came back 3 straight games, but fell short in the final last night. Florida wins it. The Panthers win it 4-3. That's their first Stanley Cup win. And I'm trying to remember when I was listening to Talking Heads yesterday, I think it's been over 30 years since the Cup's been to Canada, where there's been a Canadian team to win the Cup, which is kind of unusual.
It is.
But and then the other thing, World Series, College Baseball World Series,
incredible.
The Vols won their first title in baseball, defeating Texas A&M. So it was an all-SEC championship
wonderful
game.
It was great baseball, all the way through the regionals, the super regionals. The College World Series was incredible. The boy that plays at Carolina, the Pence kid from Cherville, he was at the game the other night and had a chance to – he came to the dugout just hanging out with the fellas, but had a chance to talk to him. He is just a super – super young man. Just, he said, Coach, he said, Coach Ford was talking to us, said, look, guys, it may not have been the outcome we wanted, but the thing you're going to be able to go back on is you were here.
Yeah.
And the experience you had. And he said, life's about experiences. And he said, this has been a really good one for you guys.
Well, sometimes you get that taste.
Yeah.
Makes you work a little bit harder. Now, the other thing that was interesting about this, Tennessee lost their first game in the 2 out of 3 in the championship. They became the first #1 national seed in the tournament to win the title since Miami did it in 99. That's 25 years ago.
Yeah. That's impressive.
But there's a lot of teams that you see every year, in the College World Series, in baseball and women's softball. Both of them are like that. But congratulations to them. The other thing that I saw here, and I don't know my numbers, okay? I know one is pitcher, right?
Yeah.
And 3 is going to be first base?
Yeah.
5 second base?
Yeah.
Okay. The Phillies turned a 1-3-5 triple play.
Have you seen that yet?
I'm waiting on.
Oh, okay.
Major League Baseball's first since 1929. Now, here's the deal.
Yeah.
Not that it's the first triple play,
no.
but it's the players that were involved
1-3-5,
on the triple play.
yeah.
1-3-5.
So you got, just watch this.
Back
there.
to the pitcher.
All right, there. And the boy running from third thought that it was a ground ball to the pitcher because it was hitting so soft. And the guy got jammed at the plate. The pitcher kind of like just waiting on the ball to get to him. It was one of those that's kind of hit to him. And then the boy at first was like, what just happened? I mean, nobody really knew what happened because a ball is normally hit a whole lot harder. Watch this thing. Look how long it took him to get there. The guy at first was like, yeah, I'm done. And the guy at third took off.
Looks like the third base coach would have done better.
It ain't got nothing to do with that. They can't. Let me tell you something. In that situation, he can't hear. That player can't hear him.
Yeah.
It's that loud, and you just got to go on reaction and what you think you see. And but hey, man, that's pretty cool though, because that kind of triple play literally never happens.
But it happened not because of great athleticism on the team that got it, but just smart thinking.
It's like anything else, man.
Yeah,
just by chance.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna tell you this, man. I saw an article, and I about lost my mind. It took me 30 minutes to calm down going to sleep. And this guy was writing this article saying college baseball has just become too dangerous with these exit velocities off of bats. They've got to do something with this 118, 117. And I'm thinking, we just had arguably the best World Series ever. Arguably ever. I mean, as far as excitement and enthusiasm and the wonderful kids that are out there playing, the coaching, the family atmosphere, the people coming to – this guy says, well, it's just getting too dangerous. I'm like, you know what? So basically we have another example of someone that may follow sports. It was on Google News, right? That has no idea what the hell they're talking about.
What's the difference?
They're repeating what they hear and what they think they know through science, okay, which – it's debatable whether it's debatable, follow the science, okay? Debatable, very debatable, all right? And he's trying to make the argument that they need to cool the bats off or do something with the baseball.
Let me go back. All right, let me ask you this. So what's the exit velocity in a wooden bat that's in Major League Baseball?
Yeah, you're looking at 100, in the hundreds.
So it's not really that much different between the two.
Right. But
that's what I was getting at.
And you're right.
And pitching, same way. I mean, you've got that peel's coming at you at 100 miles an hour.
And you got to square it up when you hit a ball that hard, like with a wood bat. With aluminum bat, not necessarily. But this is the thing. There are risks involved in everything we're doing. They took the bats from a drop 5 when he used to hit all the home runs. I mean, it was like you could just sit on your back foot and spin and hit that thing up in the air and it'd go out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then, 10, 12 years ago, they built all these beautiful ballparks now, college parks. They look like amazing places. Then they decided to change the bat and the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then everybody's crushing balls but only hitting them 330 feet. So a ball that should be going 410, 420 is going like 360 in center. A ball that's hitting left field that should be, 360, 370 for a home run is now going 320.
Yeah.
So they're like, wait a minute, nobody's hitting any home runs. These bats are dead. These balls are dead. There's all – as long as people work hard and they train, it's like the debate to raise the basket, the height of the goal in pro basketball. Why would you do that? Well, the players have just become so good. That's the whole point.
Let me tell you what I think
the whole point.
Fixed basketball, especially on the pro side, and I'm very serious about this, and I think in the NFL as well. I think that both of those, they need to look at field size because of how good the athletes are now, because of how much you can cover. I watched over the weekend, some CFL. And I'm going to tell you, I really like the CFL just because it's different. But, you got a 20-yard end zone.
Yeah.
When you got a 20-yard end zone, it brings the pass back into play.
Well, the thing I don't like is, Lanny, is that all the rules, it's like you can't shift in baseball and play baseball. That is ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree.
The rules state you have to have 8 players within the foul lines, within the lines, all right, in the field of play, and then the catcher is allowed to be in the catcher's box, right, which is behind home plate. And then you have a hitter.
Which is physically out of play.
Correct. Okay. So now all of a sudden the rule says you got to have 8 in the field of play, but now you can't have this many on this side. Stop doing that. It's like football. You know, the players are so much faster today. The problem is the offense can't keep up with the defense. That's the whole problem. So offensively, you can either keep banging your head against the wall and come up with all these new plays and pass plays and be so new and inventive, or you can line up and hit somebody in the friggin' mouth. Okay? You can line up and go right at him. How's Micah Parsons doing against a 2 and 3 personnel backfield? All right? How's that going? How's that working out? That's how you neutralize that crap. But you know what? It's just not exciting.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Maybe you can reinvent the style of something by adding substance to it. You know, it's like we always try to pick and choose what makes us happy, when in fact watching football, for us being fans, is joyful. So instead of worrying about the 30-second happiness, like, wow, he's so fast.
In the same line of thinking,
Chris Jones just eats those people.
Let me ask you this. How about in golf? You know, when Tiger was in his prime, they talked about Tiger-proofing the courses.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
It's kind of like you were talking about with baseball stadiums. There's not a whole lot you can do to go back and rework a golf course because it was only built for so much land. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's fine.
I mean, I like to see I wasn't crazy about the U.S. Open. I thought that the golf course, to me, was a little too tricked up, especially on the greens. But I want to see, like in golf, I want to see players rewarded for shot making. I don't want to see the players that can drive or pitching wedge on a 480-yard hole.
Well, and again, that goes back to baseball. And I guarantee you we get David Lilly and talk to him, and he'd say he'd rather see the bunt in a small ball game.
Yep.
It is preferential to the audience that's watching, and it's all based on commercials. Hey, we'll be right back for the drive. I said we'll be right back for the putt.
But I think true golf fans would rather see the shot making than just pure power.
So would true baseball fans.
Yes.
They would rather see the
I would rather see small ball. I would rather see the multiple elements of the game than what they're doing now. But I will say this, and I thought in college and now in Major League, it really looks like the players are having more fun at the game than they used to. It's not, I don't know whether it's monotonous. It looks like fans are enjoying the game more, and I don't know what it is. I don't know what's really changed about it, but it just seems like, and it's good to see that, so it doesn't come across as they're just working and they got a job.
So if I'm pitching 35 years ago and you flip a bat on me, the next one's going in your ear hole. You shouldn't throw it. Anybody said don't flip the bat. Today, that's not seen as a sign of disrespect to the pitcher. It's seen as I'm celebrating with my team. So the way things are looked at has changed dramatically, right? What you used to take offense to in competition mode, today is just seen as, well, that's just part of the game.
Well,
and the reason for that, Lenny, is because things evolve and adapt.
Yep. And
the perception of things becomes a reality in which you play. It's like when I played basketball at East Burke, I was 6'1.5". I played center. I'm 15 years old. I'm going up against kids from Freedom and McDowell that are 6'6", 6'7". A couple kids from AC, 6'7", some of them 6'9", whatever. And I told them, I said, look, you can shoot over me all day long. And I tell them, I said, but if you try to dunk on me, I'm grabbing you and I'm running with you on my shoulder. And what happens from there is on you, not on me, because I told you. Now, was that right for me to do? Maybe, maybe not, but I was setting the expectation that you ain't going on me. If you try, I'm taking you out. I grew up in the Celtic, Pistons, Lakers,
bad boys. I know.
And it wasn't that you were dirty; it's that there were certain things you didn't allow, where you stood your ground, and that was the way I looked. I didn't look at it as being dirty, even though it probably was. I looked at it as I'm setting the standard for what's allowed when you come in here. And they, and I could dunk in 8th grade, okay? And I had to get a run and go. So when I got sophomore and junior in high school, I could drop step and put it up on the rim, okay? Now, whether I hit it all the time or not, or flushed it was different, but I could do it. And that's why I played in there, because I get off the floor, okay? The issue is the height. So I had to make up for that with my mouth and my intent, to be able to, carry out basically the threat, okay? And that was the only way I was able to survive in a big man's lane, being a shorter guy. I had to play like I was that tall.
I like everything to be I was a little bit different. I talked a lot when I played, but it was more talk about I can dominate you, and I'm going to do it within the rules, and I'm going to do what I'm doing, and I like that. I guess because I'm not a baseballer, I'm trying to figure out why a bat flip is any worse than players all over a pitcher because of the pitches that he made or a spectacular catch. I'm trying to figure out what determines that it is an insult based on what you do.
No, I agree, and I think that was kind of my point. Today it's not looked at like that. So if you play in today's game, when things like that go on, it's just part of the showboat. I say showboat, just part of the.
And I don't like the showboat part of it either.
It's part of the expression of the game, slamming the bat down, all these things, right? Madison Bumgarner kind of took, I'd say, offense to a couple things that went on while he played when somebody tried to show him, and again, it's, people are just different, right? And when you're in a competitive mode, you're in there to do a job and to be a winner. And sometimes that gets skewed by perception of things that may not be the reality, but the way you perceive it, right? And so what I've learned, and it's taken me a long time, but what I've learned is to focus my energies on things I can control instead of worrying about talking junk back and forth and wasting all that energy.
Exactly.
Now, there may be a time, where you sit there and be like, okay, that's it.
Yeah.
Now it's on.
Yeah.
But to go back and forth and just keep talking, it's amazing what you hear out of dugouts and
fields.
I'm
sure.
Yeah, with kids and even some of the coaches. Like, we were playing a game and we'd won a close game a week or so ago, and one of the coaches from the other team came out on the field and was like, y'all need to clean your stuff up and get out of here, doing all this stuff and everything.
See, that's not the way either.
Well, but again, it's heat of the moment, it's competition, and you gotta. Yeah, it's never the situation; it's how you handle it. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times and nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. I mean, and you're gonna find, Lord knows I've handled situations maybe not in the best way, and you know what? I've gotten thrown out of games before recently in softball, but you know what? You just you do what you think's right.
Right.
And you try to do it for the benefit of, and if it doesn't work out, you learn from it and move on.
I got to quit just a little bit early today. I got a meeting I got to go to in Lincoln. You in town Thursday?
No.
You're not in town Thursday?
No. Nope.
Okay.
No, I'll be in Greensboro.
We'll talk about it off the air, and we'll get it figured out.
Here Friday.
Then we'll let you know. We might do Friday then. Have a good day, guys.